Hello and welcome to the Megan Millen podcast. I am Megan Milinovich and today we are talking all things reflections. What are reflections? You're going to love them and hate them simultaneously. Why I say that is because they are equally the most empowering thing to know spiritually. And in my POV, they are also equally the most frustrating thing that I have encountered on my spiritual journey. So what is a reflection? And it is a universal law that you are the creator of your reality. Meaning, at all moments, you radiate an electromagnetic field, and in your electromagnetic field contains your thoughts, actions, and beliefs. You are radiating your creator field. Even the limiting belief that you held when you were 3 years old, when you were in middle school, high school, is still in your creator field and being broadcasted from you, despite it being years ago. And the only way to get it out of your creator field is to heal and shift it. So why is this important? Why do you need to know about your electromagnetic field? Why do you need to know about your creator field? Because whatever you hold to be true at that time is exactly how people, situations, and circumstances, all matter around you, will respond to you based off of whatever you are radiating at that time. And I feel some of you are still with me on this concept. Let me tell you where it can be humbling. Why can it be humbling? Because imagine if someone is expressing anger or yelling towards you. You are being that way somewhere towards yourself in some area of your life. It is wildly humbling once you start to get into this work and start to see, wow, how am I possibly treating myself this way? I can't tell you how many times I've thought that. So let's take that example. Let's take someone being angry at you. Maybe they're yelling at you. The reflection is how you feel about it, not necessarily how you feel like they're being. You may feel like they're being angry, maybe intolerable, maybe not understanding, but how does that make you feel? Maybe when they're being angry towards you, you feel scared, nervous, out of control. And those feelings of feeling scared, nervous, out of control are where you are being somewhere in your life towards yourself. And you may sit there and think, well, what do you mean? I don't really feel scared in my life or nervous or out of control anywhere. We all have 8 areas of life. This is not something you will Google. This is a source channeled, I almost said statistic. It's not statistic. This is source channeled information. You have 8 areas of life. So let's say this is a family member being angry towards you. And the family area of life is something you pay very close attention to. Most of your reflections will pop up in the areas of life you pay very close attention to. Family is an important area of life to many people. So let's use family. This anger reflection, this reflection of someone being angry towards you, yelling at you, is a family member. And for the life of you, you're thinking, where am I being this way towards myself? Your higher self and universe are creating this situation in addition to your creator field, in addition to your thoughts, actions, and beliefs that you are broadcasting. And the situation is being created so that it is thrown in your face that there is another area of life that you are not even paying attention to, where there is a limiting belief being held that your higher self wants you to shift, wants you to heal. Because if you don't shift this limiting belief, you can't reach your next level. You essentially can't up level in your life. You can't take this limiting belief with you, at least as long as you want to move forward and attract the things you desire, to attract the things that will give you the most fulfillment. And in the same example, let's say you are neglecting and not shifting the limiting beliefs that are rooted into your physical area of life. Physical area of life, including your health, the way you perceive yourself, is another high value area of life of ours, however, can get neglected and pushed to the wayside, right? And let's say in the same example, this family member who is yelling at you, being angry at you, you're feeling, why aren't they just seeing me from where I'm coming from? Why don't they get it? This family member situation that you are creating can be due to a limiting belief you hold in the physical area of life of not seeing yourself for who you truly are. It can be a situation that your higher self wants you to begin shifting to start seeing your physical form for what it truly is. Your physical self-image can be so low that your higher self is like, we need to be done with this. We are going to create a shitstorm situation of a family member popping off at you. So that throws sirens in your face of saying, this needs to be shifted. You need to look inward and see where this needs to be shifted. You are not perceiving your physical form for what it actually is, and how you believe other people perceive your physical form is trash. And again, because you pay close attention to the family area of life, This is just an example. But because you pay very close attention to the family area of life, this is where that limiting belief is going to pop up. Again, family and physical are just 2 of the 8 areas of life. So if you're like, this doesn't resonate with me, you would look into the other areas of life with intuition to see, okay, then where am I actually being this way towards myself? I cannot emphasize enough how empowering this is. If you hate something in your life, if you do not like the way something in your life is going, you have the power to change it. And the very first step to shifting this limiting belief, which is actually the hardest step for me to do, and it's literally, in my opinion, the most important, is you need to see the perfection in the reflection. What do I mean by that? From Source's POV, and when I say source, you can insert God, the universe, whatever resonates with you. But from Source's perspective, there is perfection in everything. There's good in the bad, and there's bad in the good, essentially. Earth is built on polarity. If you even think about the poles, there's a South Pole, there's a North Pole. I literally did that backwards if you're on video. I put my hand up when I said South Pole and my hand down when I said North Pole. But you get what I'm saying. Earth is built on polarity for a reason. For every 5 people that say yes, it is a universal law that there needs to be 5 people that say no. So even in the shitstorm of the family member yelling at you, you need to find the good in it before you shift it. That is literally step number 1. While that may sound hard to do, it is not impossible. True nature us knows that there's good and bad in everything. Through society, through taking on other people's thoughts, actions, and beliefs, we lose that perspective. We lose that knowledge because we essentially are living in a time on a planet where things are black and white. This is good, this is bad. It's bad to have $0 in your bank account. It's good to have $5 million in your bank account. There's good and bad in each of those situations. And why I say that's the most important step is because you can do all the healing work. You can shift the limiting belief. You can do the action steps to take in order to shift the limiting belief. But if you do not see the perfection in it, the limiting belief, the annoying reflection will stay put. You essentially almost need to look forward to getting this reflection put back onto you. Guys, when I say that this has been so frustrating for me in my spiritual journey, I do not exaggerate that because for me, I will channel the energetic tools. I will do the physical action steps because everything is 100% energetic and 100% physical. And I will still get reflections popping up in my life. And not just reflections. We'll always get reflections, but the same reflection. And the same reflection keeps popping up because I'm not seeing how perfect it is. Which is why I am putting so much emphasis on this. You need to see the perfection in the quote unquote bad in your life. Let's take our money example. Let's say you have $0 in your bank account. What's the good in that? Okay, so maybe you're not financially abundant right now, but maybe you are abundant in the time you have that you can spend with your family. The person that has $5 million in their bank account may be financially abundant. However, they have 0 time to spend with their family. Which leads me to also energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So if your abundance and time are going to one place, that means it's being taken away from another. It is a mandatory must. You must see the perfection in everything. Even in the gnarliest reflections, let's say you have cancer. You need to see the perfection in your cancer, in having cancer. I shouldn't say in having cancer, in experiencing cancer in order to heal it. Because yes, there are energetic root causes to cancer. And another thing I want to reemphasize, it is how you feel when that reflection is happening. Let's use the money example. You have $0 in your bank account and you are like, what the is going on? Look inward and ask yourself, okay, how do I feel about $0 being in my bank account? Well, it makes me feel like I can't support my family. Okay. And then keep going. What's the underlying reason under that? And me not being able to support my family makes me feel not good enough. That is your reflection. That is your limiting belief, not feeling good enough in some other area of your life other than financial. The reflection is popping up in financial. How you feel is the limiting belief. And then you need to look inward and see, okay, in what area of my life am I not feeling good enough in? And the $0 will stay $0, or maybe you'll get some money, but then it'll just keep depleting until you shift this limiting belief. You cannot attract financial abundance unless you shift this limiting belief. You cannot get into your financially abundant next up level until you shift this limiting belief. And I'm hearing thoughts of, well, why do some people get the money easily? A lot of that is soul plan. If this is resonating with you right now, you are most likely a higher frequency soul, a higher conscious where things are not just going to be given to you. You've passed these easier levels of life. Again, I'm chuckling because I understand and I relate to this frustration so much of seeing other people get the things you want, of seeing other people get the things you desire. And you're like, what the heck? I'm doing all the same things as them and I'm not getting it. A lot of these people who just get the money easily, it is a soul plan to teach them a soul lesson that the money is not going to make them feel XYZ, insert whatever limiting belief. In this example, good enough. People will be millionaires, make tens of millions of dollars. And when I look in intuitively, I see they don't feel like they're good enough. And can you imagine having tens of millions of dollars and still not feeling good enough? You don't want to be that person either. Yes, they have money, but it's a mental mindfuck as to what they do with the money, how they got the money, because they don't feel special or good enough. Which also brings me into wants versus desires. Your higher self has certain desires that it wants you to attract in this lifetime. Your higher self is the version of you that has no limiting beliefs about yourself in this lifetime. You are your higher self, but through life, we stray from the higher self path because we take on limiting beliefs, because we're not taught this. We take on other people's thoughts and emotions, and it veers us away from the higher self path. Our higher selves know this will happen. They orchestrate all of this for us because it's all part of our soul path, all part of our journey to overcome certain obstacles, so that we learn from them, so that we help other people overcome the same thing. So your higher self has certain desires for you in this lifetime. So does your human. When I say you're human, right, we're energetic beings in physical form. But where humans tend to err, and maybe err isn't the right word, but humans tend to want. And when you want something, and I'm talking about that gremlin-y type of want where you are putting this thing on a pedestal, when you are overly wanting something, you are not getting it, first of all. That's a universal law of balance. Essentially what we've been talking about this whole time. There's good and bad in everything. So you putting this on a pedestal, this being, let's say, money, this being, let's say, a romantic relationship, you will not get that thing because you are not seeing, first of all, the bad in it, right? Because there are negative aspects to money or a romantic relationship. And also when you have this want, again, this gremlin-y want, and I know what that gremlin-y want feels like because I have been there. When you want something that bad, you are basically putting out into the universe, into your creator field, lack. You want that thing because you feel like you lack what that thing you think will give you. Let me use an example. Let's take a romantic relationship. Let's say you're putting being in a romantic relationship on a pedestal. It's a gremlin-y want. But also with intuition, you see this as a higher self, authentic desire as well. Because remember, your higher self is you. Your higher self is your true nature, authentic self. Your human and higher self can want the same things, and I should say, can desire the same things. What happens in our human physical form is we start to get wanty over it, and then we don't get it. So again, let's say we put the romantic relationship on a pedestal. We are overly wanting it. Why do we maybe want a romantic relationship? Because it'll make us feel hot. It'll make us feel loved. It'll make us feel seen. It'll give us confidence. And because your level of want is so high, you are broadcasting to every single person, situation, circumstance, thing around you, I lack these things. Your desire to be in a romantic relationship is not an authentic pull at this point. It's a want. It's a scarcity mindset. And again, it's because you are not seeing the negative aspects in the romantic relationship. Now imagine this. Imagine you're overly wanting a romantic relationship and are wanting the romantic relationship to fill those 4 voids, those 4 emotions I just listed. I forget what they all are, but feeling hot, confident, seen, and loved. Because you want those emotions so bad, because you want to feel those things so bad and are not recognizing that you can just give those things to yourself already. That's being broadcasted. I lack confidence. I lack feeling hot. I lack feeling seen. And you are going to create situations and circumstances around you of people not seeing you for who you truly are, of people shitting on your confidence, creating situations and scenarios where you do not feel hot. Literally creating a scenario of where you're walking into a room and you have 100 beautiful people around you and it is just glaring at how major your limiting beliefs are in that moment. And you are creating these situations and circumstances, again, as a reflection to be thrown back into your face. You need to give these things to yourself. You need to give the feelings of hot, feeling seen, confidence, and love to yourself first. Because that is the truth. You have the ability to give yourself all of these emotions first. These are limiting beliefs that have gotten so deep that now you're looking externally for them to fill the void. You're seeking an external thing to fill an internal emotional wound. That is not how Earth works. It is a soul lesson for you then to give yourself that unconditional love first, so that your romantic relationship, your desired, your dream romantic relationship, can give you that unconditional love in return. And same thing with the money, of how people get money easily, the $5 million easily. That same thing can happen in a romantic relationship. People can find their husbands, wives, partners easily as a soul lesson to teach them your partner is not going to make you feel special and unique. And their first, 2 to 5 years of marriage can be all happy until their higher selves are like, okay, now it's time for you to learn your lesson. You need to feel special and unique on your own. So would you not just rather enter your romantic relationship, again, your dream desired romantic relationship, with a solid foundation of knowing you are special, unique, hot, confident, XYZ, and that you can give that to yourself first, you can give that to yourself internally, and not have to rely on an external thing to make you feel that way. This is, again, both humbling and empowering at the same time, because once you hear this, you'll start seeing all of these reflections around you, and you'll say, how am I creating this in my own life? But it's empowering because majority of the world doesn't even grasp this concept. Majority of the world will not even look inward at themselves. And you listening to this as a high frequency soul now have a leg up on 87% plus of the world. Intuitively, that's what I'm hearing. To live in and attract your highest alignment. To live as your true nature, authentic self. That is such a flex. You get to live life as you, not as the limiting belief you've been carrying around since you were 3 years old. And that is what most of the world is doing right now. They're playing victim, and they are carrying around these limiting belief mindsets that they are not looking inward to heal or shift, and are not just owning, and instead they are just letting life happen to them. PSA, do not let life happen to you. Life is happening for you. And if I had to backtrack and say what the first most important step is when shifting reflections, is taking ownership of your life, is taking and owning the responsibility of being your own healer. This is where the Bible gets it wrong. God is not coming to save you. Jesus is not coming to save you. Insert whatever you believe in is not saving you. You are saving you. The quicker you realize that, the sooner you can shift these most annoying things in your life. The sooner you can heal your body, the sooner you can attract money. You heal you. And where we get caught up, I've been there too, I still go back to this mindset, is I am a victim. I am a victim of my reality. How are all these things happening to other people, but they're not happening to me? Guys, do you really think you are the only person on the planet that cannot attract financial abundance? No. Do you think everyone around you is getting into romantic relationships, getting married, having kids, having a loving family, and you are the only one on the planet, or a certain subset of people that cannot get that thing? That's false. You are not a victim. You create your reality, and you can start shifting this today. Even by listening to this podcast alone, you are starting to take ownership of your life. Okay, let's get into some tea. Let's get into some highly triggering things that are going on in the country right now. And let's start with Trump. President Trump is a light body. He is a light worker. And what that means is he is connected to source and has good intentions for humanity. He has good intentions for the United States of America. He is also a trigger for many, many people. For instance, if you are triggered by Donald Trump's capture of Maduro, if you are triggered by Trump potentially enacting the Insurrection Act, that is an emotional imbalance that you hold about yourself, that you believe to be true at this moment in time. I can already hear people being mad over this. It is the truth. You create your reality. If you are triggered by anything, period, that is a reflection of an emotional imbalance that you are holding at this moment. And even when I look in intuitively as to why women have a trigger to Trump, hate Trump, I see emotional imbalances of having unresolved anger towards men that haven't been shifted or healed. And when I look in for men who have a trigger, Trump reflects their emotional imbalances of not feeling masculine enough. And guys, I'm channeling for a collective right now, so this will be more specific towards a certain person, towards any individual, but what I'm hearing intuitively is this is an overwhelmingly majority of people, for men and women, what one of their emotional imbalances are when they are triggered by Trump. Now let's go to the flip side. Let's go if you are triggered by the left side of politics. And I already hear thoughts of, I'm not triggered by them, I just think what they say is dumb. That's a trigger. That's a reflection of yourself. That is a reflection of an emotional imbalance you hold to be true at this moment. And when I look in at the collective and see what the emotional root cause is for being triggered by the left, it's a lack of alignment with your soul purpose, with what you came back on earth to do, and not feeling good enough in one or more areas of your life. I don't make the rules. I don't care how dumb you think someone or something or what side of the political spectrum is being. If it is eliciting a highly emotional response in you, that is a trigger. That is a reflection of an emotional wound that needs to be healed. Now, where do you start? Where do you start when shifting your reflections? Where do you start when beginning to heal your emotional wounds? I mentioned two of them already. First, take ownership of your life. First, take radical, unwavering ownership of your life. Second, see the perfection in everything around you. As humans, we tend to see the perfection in the good easily. That's just what we're taught from a very young age. Start to see the perfection in the bad. See the neutrality in everything, meaning if you were putting something on a pedestal, get neutral about it. See how perfect it would be if you were never in a romantic relationship. See how perfect it would be if you never made another dollar again. Because once you get neutral to it, the universe has no other choice but to give that thing to you. I should say, once you get neutral about it and shift your limiting beliefs, whatever energetic or physical tools that may be, then the universe has no other option but to give that thing to you. Even doing those three things right now today is everything. Why do I say that? Because I have been on this journey for a year and a half now. And these are such fundamental things that I wish I burned in my brain from the get-go. Because if you do not have these three foundational elements, it doesn't matter what else you're healing. Get out of the victim mindset. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And I'm not saying you can't feel your emotions. Love your emotions. But don't let your emotions drown you either. Don't let your overly elated emotions take over your life. Let's say you're stuck in the victim mindset. I relate. And you're like, how do I get out of this? How do I fully get on board with, I am the creator of my reality? Everything that's happening to me, quote unquote, to me, is actually happening for me. Remind yourself, this would not be an obstacle you would be facing if you couldn't overcome it. Your higher selves essentially orchestrate everything that's going to happen in your life. You could, and yes, you have free will and you could do whatever you want, but your higher selves essentially orchestrate every obstacle that's going to happen in your life because you have the tools to overcome it. So remind yourself of that when you're getting into victim mindset. I have the tools to shift this. I inherently have the tools to shift this. I already know how to shift this. I have to tap into it. And especially remind yourself when you are in the victim mindset of the perfection of being in the victim mindset. It is wildly relatable. It is relatable because the entire planet is in a victim mindset, and you will need to experience the victim mindset in order to help others overcome the same thing. You are getting real life experience to relate to your clients, let's say, on how you overcame the victim mindset and became your own healer, how you began taking responsibility for your own life. How do you begin seeing the perfection in everything? And I'm even hearing intuitively really bad or severe scenarios like human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking. Yes, I understand from a human level that is awful. But yes, also from a source point of view, there is good in that. A lot of people who are trafficked, it feels like the overwhelmingly majority, upper 90s%, are being trafficked as soul karma, meaning they were the ones doing the trafficking in a previous lifetime, and now they're on the other end of it. Again, I don't make the rules. That's source channeled information. Because I understand that it's very hard to stomach watching that and know that that is going on in the world. And what has helped for getting your level of want down? Again, because we want to get to a place of neutrality. Take any situation, person that you are putting on a pedestal or that is being highly reflective of you, that is very triggering to you, and find reasons as to why it would be perfect if that trigger never shifted, if you never got that thing that you put on a pedestal. Why is it perfect if I never date Johnny? Well, it's perfect that I never date Johnny because that means I'm actually going to find my soul mate, my soul complement. That's perfect. I'm never going to date Johnny because I'm going to cultivate the highest levels of unconditional love for myself. And for a fact, no, I will never need external validation in order to feel loved. It is so empowering to not rely on an external thing to give you something. It is the greatest gift you can give to yourself to not rely on an external thing to bring you internal happiness, joy, and fulfillment. And let's go off the relationship example for a little bit. When you put that romantic relationship on a pedestal, when you are overly wanting for it, it is such desperate energy. When have you ever experienced something or someone feeling so desperate towards you? It is the biggest ick. It is the biggest deterrent. Now imagine if you're feeling that way and what you're broadcasting out there to the world. Johnny isn't all that. You're all that. And let me give some examples for a reflection that's highly triggering or may seem impossible. Let's use the $0 in your bank account example. Why is it perfect you have $0 in your bank account? It forces you to adapt and learn new ways to make money. Crucial for attracting the things you desire is possessing the quality of adaptability. What's another one? Okay. Why is it perfect that you have $0 in your bank account? You are mastering the feelings of feeling abundant without the external thing that is literally in the equation of how to manifest anything. In order to manifest anything, you need to feel the feelings of what you think that thing will give you. I cannot tell you how much returning to these fundamentals and re-implementing them into my life has changed it for the better. I'm no longer wanty. I'm no longer assigning so much weight and putting so much pressure on a situation. I'm literally forcing and training myself to see the good in the bad. I am law of focusing. There's a universal law of focus. What you focus on is what you attract. I am law of focusing my dream life. You can literally never take an intuitive course, and with these 3 steps alone, up-level your life in ways I can't even comprehend or begin to channel to explain to you how much you can up-level your life with this. For maximum comprehension, I am going to repeat these steps again. Take ownership over your life. Accept the idea that whatever is happening is a byproduct of your own thoughts, actions, and beliefs that you hold to be true at that time. See the perfection in everything. Again, what is the good in having $0? And get your level of want down. Get to a neutral place. I get 2 and 3 sound similar, but let me explain how they're different. Seeing the perfection in everything. When the angry family member is yelling at you, this is perfect because whatever emotional imbalance this is reflecting is being thrown in my face for me to look inward and heal it. And getting your level of want down or becoming neutral to the situation would be asking yourself, why is this perfect if this person never stopped yelling at me? Why is this perfect if this person yelled at me every time they would see me? It's perfect because it would literally teach you how to control your emotions quicker than anyone or anything else. When you control your emotions, you allow yourself to think logically. When you control your emotions, you tap into your intuition. And with those 2 things, you are making the most optimal decision for you. This was a ton of info. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week.